Okay, day 78, version 3. Braverman and Brown still haven't contacted me yet, neither has Turi. This series is really about the depths someone will go for power. And it's also a little bit of a morality play. Did Braverman know or didn't he know about what Hillary was doing? I'm going to show you a lot more today in this one. And then I'm going to still say Braverman's the guy who went to the press. I think Braverman knew that Neil Brown, his husband, was doing the pipelines, and I think he knew that it meant working with David Petraeus at KKNR to do a little of this land clearing, but I don't think he knew that it meant giving Muslim Brotherhood 20,000 stingers, and I don't think it meant giving Muslim Brotherhood 20,000 stingers for 32 countries, and I don't think he knew that it meant giving Muslim Brotherhood massive amounts of sarin gas. And I don't think he knew that it meant not just, I think he might have known about the arms and the oil, but I don't think he knew about the kids. So, the CIA manual. This is Tyler Drumheller. He ran CIA for Europe forever. It teaches you, as I've said before, with $10,000 and you're by yourself, you can rule the country in 10 years. It's a manual of doing that. Now, it helps if you have hot blonde, sexy gal named Valerie Plame. It goes a lot faster. Wooing the different people in NATO is going to be much quicker, and you're going to get people to the parties much quicker. But the CIA manual is made for guys like me and Tyler Drumheller that look like this, okay? And it's a way of the only, I think I maybe look a little bit better than Tyler Drumheller, but he's dead now. But he was in Osprey Global, the company that with Sid hired Delta Force to take over Libya and Syria. The way to do it, unfortunately, is child trafficking. You start out with parties where girls are 18 and then 16 and 12, 14, then 12. And the idea is to film people with these low-light cameras, 12 low-light cameras all around, and then they're hooked. They're going to do whatever you ask them. And if you start with the chief of police or the head of the government's police department, and then you tell him that if you don't get all your lieutenants or your captains to do a gang rape of this girl next week, you're going to expose them. So his captains are all going to, and this is happening all over the world. This is right out of the CIA manual. You then get the captains to get all the lieutenants. If you don't all gang rape this girl, then now they don't know they're being filmed, but that way you're telling the head of the police that he's safe because he's got stuff on everybody. So it's a hierarchical approach. And then you finally get down to every cop, every military police force or other police force. So this is what training is. This is what's known as training. When CIA does training, this is going to be your Dyne Corp doing training. This is what it is. This is how you take over a country. Now, for people who cooperate, you still have them go because you still want to have blackmail. Okay, and this is known as a brownstone operation. They've been run all over the country. Well, guess what? This technique was brought into to the FBI by the military. The military and the CIA, basically the CIA being an extension of the military, Joint Terrorism Task Force. It sounds really great. It sounds like you're breaking up terrorism. What you're really breaking up is you're breaking up police departments because you want control. You want this extortion control of every police department in the United States. This is where I stood up against JTTF in 2010, and he does not like that. He's the guy behind it, and I was the guy who stood in front. And it was for a Muslim kid, by the way, 17-year-old Muslim kid. So you might have heard my previous tapes about my feelings about the middle of Israel, but I stood up for a Muslim kid, 17-year-old, that he used 3 different informants. One of them was his college roommate to try to get him to build a bomb. He never saw the bomb parts. They built the bomb for him, and all he did was press a cell phone. He's doing 30 years right now. This is also an interesting case because it was the first time the Snowden's warrantless warrantless prison was used, and it was upheld by the judge, unfortunately. But that was challenged. But if you use this system of control, JTTF, it's a control mechanism. It's a way of breaking up, and you basically infiltrate the whole police department, just like I said, then you're in control. Anything that happens, you basically pick up the phone and say, hey, Chief, I got a tape right here. And you put it all in an archive, and you can now control the United States. And this is, as I said before, many videos before, this is the control mechanism of local law enforcement, state law enforcement as well as other federal enforcement agencies, JTTF. So do I have any proof of that? Well, here's a gal, Jessa Dillow Crisp, okay? Sex trafficking survivor. This is Denver again, at the school, near the school. Police were among hundreds of abusers, okay? She also says, if you watch the link below, that she watched a friend of hers, she's a very beautiful young lady, she watched a friend of hers be killed right in front of her eyes. Don't know if it's going to be Lauren Johnson or not, or some other girl, but anyway, if you watch this tape, you'll know this girl isn't lying. This girl was in 2 sex rings. They let her out after the Vancouver Olympics, and then she was brought back in a second time. Now, she's being raped by gangs of police officers. Now, what would make a police officer do that? How could you make a police officer rape this girl? There's only one way. It's if your captain says, if you don't do it, you're out. And your 12 other guys in your squad say the same thing. That's the only way you could make that sort of thing happen. And you know what? When it's all, before it's all said and done, we're going to get around to lacrosse players too. Just letting that, they can do video depositions too. So anyway, that's just a little fun fact for everybody to think about. That can happen in Denver. It can happen in Duke. It happen all over. So when people turn up dead, that's where you have to investigate. Mr. McCabe, you need to send 200 agents to Haiti. You don't need to send 200 agents to Iraq. Okay, so she's dead. We've got Anthony Weiner down there in Haiti. We've got Huma down there in Haiti, Dominican Republic. We've got Hillary down there in Punta Cana. We've got Kissinger down there in Punta Cana. Time to investigate. Time to collect evidence. Time to get cell phones and cell phone records and figure out exactly where everybody was, and hotel records, and figure where they stayed the night, who they talked to. Okay, and start, Mississippi burning, they sent down 200 agents, okay, to fill a theater. That's what we need now. Microfinancing, Slim, Carlos Slim, the Lebanese connection, bringing over the girls for the prostitution, trafficking. This is a system. This system right here, they're going to say, well, it was for national security. The reason why we taught all these different countries in South America how to blackmail the police departments is the CIA needed control. Okay, this is an unethical methodology of trying of gaining human capital, using human bait to gain control of countries, and it's not. It has to be stopped. This is not the United States of America. We're better than this. So, you must publish the emails, 650,000 emails. I said in an earlier one today video that there's 500,000 state emails. There's probably more like 645,000 because there's only 4,000 Huma to Hillary emails. But I'm guessing somewhere in there. And yoga could be a code word. Yoga could be. She might have not been lying that yoga. Yoga is a way of saying, very violent sex where people are engaged so violently that it's like yoga, right? Marriage, Chelsea's marriage, it's all about marriage planning. Well, that could be child trafficking, getting these kids from up in Syria down to the oil sheiks in the Middle East. It could be getting the Haiti kids over to African princes. So she might be right. It might all be about yoga and marriage. It's just yoga and marriage mean two different things. My advice to Preet is, your Southern District of New York, it's a very storied position. There's a lot of responsibility. People are going to be looking to you to do the right thing. They're going to be looking to you for justice. They're not looking to you for, somebody making, an insider trade and made, $1,000. They're looking for you to do this. They're looking for you to break up crime rings that are worldwide crime rings. So I know I always end on this slide, but if you just remind yourself of the practices that have gone on, no grand juries, no subpoenas, no court orders, immunity for the conspirators, letting the conspirators all interview together, and I'll add no videotape, no interviewing under oath, no follow-up. For instance, I'll give you an example of no follow-up. Huma says, oh yeah, I sent these emails to Anthony Weiner, and then they don't even do a follow-up with Anthony Weiner. Her 302, her interview summary doesn't say anything about a follow-up with Anthony Weiner. Doesn't say anything about the consultant company that he's hired for the last 6 years on an unsecured server where all these emails were. So that could have been a great staging server for anybody on Wall Street. If you really want to bust Wall Street, you follow up on that interview and you say, you go to that server for Angela, whatever her name was, that did his AnthonyWeiner.com, and you go there and you look at access. You look at the access logs and you see which Wall Street firms got classified information for their clients. That's what you do if you're running an investigation, okay? So I'm going to just leave it at that. What I really want to see is Haiti. I really want to see this Miami wall that McCabe has put up, walling off the Clinton Foundation. There is something bad in Haiti going on. And I believe Haiti is beyond. I believe those little girls are being taken to the Dominican Republic side. They're being photographed. They're being sent off to African princes. They're being shopped, just like Ted Gunderson used to say. They're being shopped. People are making the buy, and Jeff Epstein's flying over from Little St. James Island. They're test driving them on Little St. James and picking the ones they like for the, a lineup, and then they're taking 2 or 3 home on Jeff Epstein. I think that's what you're going to find. And you're going to find that the NOAA records, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric records, are going to have Jeff's flights. I wonder what the next flight is. They're going to have Jeff's flights going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. NASA's going to also have that information flying back and forth, back and forth. And by chasing his tail number, you're going to know where all the girls went. All of them. So, Mr. Comey, if you want to really investigate something, let's go get NASA and NOAA data for Jeff Epstein's plane number. We already know there's a case in Florida where there's 40 plaintiffs, 40 women that we know of. So it's a criminal. It's not a fishing expedition. There's a smoking gun. It's not a smoking gun. He's convicted. So unwind from this. You don't need to do this. Everyone in this does not need to go down the drain with Hillary. Now these guys need to be busted. They're the ones, this guy, I'll tell you right now, Kamal Rahman, who inherited this company from his dad, he is trafficking little girls and boys through the white helmets, down through Syria, down to the oil sheikhs. And Petrofac is also going to be involved. That's it for today.